We have a very awesome special guest here today. We're going to be talking to Matt's Crypto, all the tips, all the tricks, and he's even building out an awesome new platform that will give you and I kind of the edge or the advantage over people that may not know about it or may just be a little bit negligent in their due diligence and their market research. But we're talking to him today. Hopefully, we get some good pointers for you guys, and we're going to be going over his new service that he is currently the CMO of and kind of leading the charge on this new endeavor. So, what is up, Matt? How about you just let the people know kind of how you came into the space, and maybe what your hopes are for the space.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be on your channel doing some content together. So thank you guys so much for having me on. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I started out in crypto like most other people probably did. First before I hopped into NFTs, I think it's kind of like a slope where you like, oh, what's this Bitcoin thing? And you're like, oh, what's this Ethereum thing? And then next thing you're like, oh, what are these altcoins? Oh, what is an NFT? Kind of slide down the slope into like the deepest depths of being a degen. I started in crypto like 2018 or so, just dabbling with it a bit. And then in the past year, especially during COVID, I got way more interested in cryptocurrency and what was going on. And one thing led to another. And now I'm pretty much full fledged in the NFT scene and really enjoying the fast paced, environment that it creates.
No, for sure. And man, things move fast. On the topic of things moving fast, I don't know. Have you seen this new OpenSea competitor? Looks Rare. Now, I'm going to be covering Looks Rare, kind of the ins and outs, the ups and downs, and everything around the new marketplace that you guys at home would need to know. But I'm really interested. There's a big buzz. Is Looks Rare the OpenSea killer? What do you think about that?
I think it's way too early to make that assumption. I will say, yeah, I actually looked into no pun, but I looked into Looks Rare a couple days ago when our developers on NFTHud are like, yo, their volume is outdoing OpenSea right now. This is like we should be paying attention to this. And then I was like, oh wow, there's actually an airdrop you can do if you've used OpenSea enough, and it's like a considerable amount of money right now. This morning, I think it was worth like between $3,000 and $4,000 worth of Looks tokens for a free airdrop just by joining the site and listing an NFT. So um, it's definitely got some buzz going in the scene right now, and I don't want to jump to conclusions on it being an OpenSea killer, but it does look promising to start. I've used it a little bit today. It's a little different. You have to kind of get used to some of the things that are a little different than OpenSea and in the way that it works. But listen, I think competition is great for the space, and you can tell me what you think. But I'd say any competition will only help the user and the communities in the space, because competition makes for like innovation, and it usually creates a better experience for the people involved when there's competition involved. So I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree. And I mean competition when you have a second person come into the space. And we've seen kind of marketplaces here and there pop up, launch pads pop up, but nothing to the magnitude and kind of offering the utility that Looks Rare is offering. And they can kind of, being the first person in a space is amazing. I mean, OpenSea is, $13.3 billion market cap right now. Looks Rare is at $400 million market cap. So there's definitely room to improve on that specifically. But one of the big things is OpenSea being the first person to come out. The next person that follows them, of course, is going to see what the first person did wrong. They're going to see what they can add to the first person. So it's just really interesting. And you said, NFTHud. What exactly is that? Because I know that's something that you're working on, that you're passionate about, and that you really think is going to kind of change the space, kind of change how we trade NFTs, how we look at NFT activity. So let us know what that is that you're working on.
Yeah, so NFTHud is a platform, and don't get confused here. It's not a marketplace platform like LooksRare or OpenSea. It's very much neither of those things. It's actually like a supplemental tool to it's got a lot of things that you would want to have on something like OpenSea. So if you go to like an activity tab on OpenSea, you'll see, like a chart of like, volume and floor price over time, but it's terrible. It's useless. It's really hard to get some, good intel on what a project has done and why it's doing well or why it's doing bad or what it might be doing in the future. Data that you want to really know about a collection. So NFT HUD is, first and foremost, it's just as of right now, it's a mixture of tools that a lot of other sites do. So there's, for me personally, like I use probably half a dozen or even a dozen different sites, and they each do something really well. Like Rarity Tools is like the official rarity rank score for projects that have rarities. There's Nansen that does a lot of like wallet tracking and macro trends in the NFT space really well. There's Dune Analytics, which is a free, lesser, robust version, with graphs and analytics and data statistics like Nansen. But all these things, all of these different platforms have one thing that they're really good at, and that's kind of it. And they also all have limitations. So, for example, like the Dune Analytics thing, it's free, but you have to know how to code in order to use it, or you have to find someone else that's made a dashboard with their code for like tracking certain projects. So, like, there's limitations for users in that way. And so, what we decided to do is I'm like, bro, I need a space that does all of this really well and has a uniform UI that's understandable for any user. So we pretty much built that. It's got most of the major features that other sites have that most people will use to find great deals and flip them for profit, or find great deals to buy for long term, or whatever it is that your goal is. It basically just generally helps you find great projects and or NFTs. And then in the future, we have 23 additional features that I think is going to set it apart from any other platform that exists right now. And so we're really just building this. Like, this is not for projects. This is not for advertisements. It's solely for degens and apes like me and yourself and anyone probably watching this video that just wants to find cool projects and try to make some money in the process.
No, and that's amazing. I mean, what would you say? I'd say right now the access to. I'm a stats guy. I'm a numbers guy. I
Same.
have been my whole life. I have a natural love for numbers. What do you think is the biggest advantage currently that someone may have over the masses when it comes to, say, sniping these rare NFTs? I know myself personally, when this all started, I had whatever collection I was looking at and whatever collection I was trying to snipe these rarities. As we all know, post reveal, all the paper hands, you're gonna have some paper hands that have a really rare NFT and they're going to list them at the floor price. It's absolutely inevitable. And up until now, I had to have the listing activity second by second up so I could see when they were listed. On another screen, I'd have, my rarity tool, or I would have the Chrome extension. What do you think is this going to change the way people see the kind of the rarity sniping?
For those who are on the site, yes. For everyone else, no.
Right.
I mean, it is going to be, it's a paid access site, which is
Okay.
like most other sites
Of course.
that are worth paying for, I would say. But yes, I mean, the tools we have right now, I think the two things that are genuinely unique to our platform that I have not seen anywhere else. One is we have a buy rank, which is our own algorithm that I'm not going to tell you how it works exactly, but it basically determines the best deal for every single collection. So it'll rank out of everything that's listed for sale on any collection. It'll say this is the number one best deal based on all of the factors, including rarity, the price, data metrics, all different stuff. It'll say this is the best deal, and then it'll list them 1 through whatever, however many there are in that collection that are for sale. So generally, if you go and find, like, if you look at any collection, you look at the number one ranked project, you can narrow down, like you say, I have a budget for like 1 ETH. What's the best ranked score or the best buy rank that I can buy in this collection for 1 ETH right now? And you can toggle that in a quick second, and then you have your best deal. You don't have to go through traits and pull up different metrics. It just does it for you. All the things that I've had to make videos on to do on other sites like Rarity Tools, like how to toggle and filter down to finding a good deal, we've already done that with a buy rank. So you can filter it that way if you want. That's number one. And then the second thing is like the deal sniper is what I've called it, or what we've called it. And it's a live feed, real time, kind of like Twitter, where it's just feeding you different projects and different NFT listings as they get listed.
That's awesome.
And you can filter down to exactly what you want. So you can say, like, I want a project that is 20% within the floor price, or an NFT it's 20% in the floor price. It's a number, top 10 buy rank in that collection, and it's in my watch lists. So then I only get fed projects I care about that are ridiculously good deals that are also near the floor price. And if you toggle it all the way down that way, there's not going to be a ton of those options. Those are few and far between. But they do come up. And like when I was recording the first video for the site, Primate Planet had just, I think it's Primate Planet, yeah, just launched. They just revealed. And someone paper handed a legendary ape for floor price. It was ranked #1 buy rank immediately while I was recording. Someone bought it. 4 hours later, they sold it for 69 Ethereum. They bought it for 2.7, sold it for 69. They made about $250,000 in 4 hours.
That's crazy.
And the tool like showcased that right in front of my eyes while I was recording. So like that was a good example because it's like, you know, it's clear like that's an insane flip. Doesn't always happen, but the point is you have the ability to easily toggle down and find what you want to find quickly.
Oh yeah, no, and those flips are out there, and you know a lot of people beat themselves up for missing a good flip or missing a good whitelist, and I'm always telling people, you know, there is an endless river of possibilities. You know, you don't go fishing, you lose one fish on the hook, and you're like, well, that was the only fish in the river. You know, I might as well go home. You know, no, there's an infinite compounding, never-ending amount of new possibilities. And that guy who did that, unless he was using some third-party site, he was probably sitting there watching the activity for listings right on OpenSea. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't know is Rarity Tools or Rarity Sniffer. Not to say anything bad about them, they're amazing tools with amazing utility, but they are behind. They aren't live. They are, you know, 20, sometimes even with Rarity Sniffer, 30 to 40 minutes behind. So if you go filter and you look for the recently listed, or you try to sort from low to high price or high to low rarity, you're getting things that are 30 minutes behind. And in the NFT space, 10 seconds, being behind 10 seconds is a world of difference. So I want to touch on that. You said that all of the listings are going to be loaded into your platform live.
Yeah, so for the deal sniper, they load in when someone lists it on OpenSea, for example. It'll, and you can show footage for this too, so that you can understand what I'm saying. But it will load in and it'll say this was listed, you know, a minute ago or 2 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago, whatever. It loads in real time as they come through and they meet the criteria that you've put in. But to touch on your point there, you made a great point. The reveal times, so after a project mints or after it has its reveal, usually most people won't know like, oh, I have a really rare item right away, because it's very hard to tell that on OpenSea, because the OpenSea metadata usually lags sometimes several hours.
Oh yeah.
So you might not know that you have a top 1% rarity of that whole collection, and you sell it for floor price because you want to make your profit or you want to sell or whatever reason, and someone else picks it up and can sell it for way more because they understand that it's got much more value because of the traits it has. So having the information to know what that metadata is quickly is extremely valuable, at least right now. And I gotta denote this. I do think this will change sometime in the near future. But right now, the truth is, like, if you can flip on great rarities that people fumble, you can make a lot of money. So one of the things we've made a lot of focus on for before we launch is to have extremely fast reveals that are correct rarity scores on our site. Our tests right now, most projects that reveal, we have on our site the full rarity score, the correct full rarity score, under 2 minutes. Sometimes we've gotten tests as fast as 20 seconds. Like on Shiba Social Club, it was 22 seconds. And it was the right rarity scores all on our site. So like
Crazy.
that's the game we're trying to play here, because there are, like you mentioned, Rarity Sniffer, I think, is one site that does it. There's a couple other ones. Cyber Babies, I think, also does fast reveals. But if you'll notice, and I've had people in my group, in my Discord group, say, hey, I bought this 40th ranked new NFT. And then we check back an hour later and it's ranked 6,000. And so they bought it for like way more than they should have paid for it, because they thought it was a higher rarity than it was. And it's because the scores take a while to process. They have to get the whole collection in, all the metadata in, and then process all of those and then normalize them. And this is another thing that's an issue in the space that not a lot of people will talk about because they don't care. But trait normalization is supposed to be an industry standard, but it's like every collection does it differently. And sometimes when they have like these 10 one-of-ones that have totally unique traits from every other piece in the collection, it really messes with the scores and the scoring system, which can create a real problem when it comes to what's the official score. And so I've seen people get burned before. They buy something that they think is a high rarity because they trusted a site that said it was, and then when those rarity scores get updated to the official ones that gets put out by the team, they end up having a bad deal on their hands because they bought something that they thought was higher value than it is.
Yeah.
So one of the most important things for us is the data's got to be correct. When we show you the data, it needs to be either correct or you need to know that it's not fully official yet, because the way that the project did their stuff is not normal. It's not like a normal weighted trait normalization. So that's something that we're going to be extremely transparent with our users about, so that no one's getting burned, and then people are making decisions that they have full information on, essentially.
Yeah, and that's a big issue. I saw this with, not to call out any project, I think what they did was great, but Holy Heroes was one that had a mint at somewhere around 0.07. I think their floor right now is at 0.2. Good job to them. I mean, it was a launch by a couple of either late middle school students or early high school students,
Wow.
and they sold out in about 10 minutes at a 0.07. Did really good, but when everyone went to check the rarities, there was about 45 number ones in their collection. So
Yeah.
nobody knew really what they were buying, when they were buying it. There were some one of ones that went for less than mint price. There was some high 3,000 ranks that went 10 times what a legendary one of one went for. And that's a big issue on a ton of different collections, and people just getting into the space, they aren't going to know all of this, and that's a big disadvantage. So having a tool right in front of their eyes that says, hey, no, this is what it is, that's actually going to be really awesome. One other thing that I wanted to mention was one of the reasons that I sit on Twitter for hours and hours a day, probably 90% of all screen time on my phone is spent on Twitter, is we're looking for those whitelist opportunities. We're trying to figure out what is launching when. And I saw one thing that you have an NFT calendar that is going to be
Hmm.
built into this. Touch on that for a second, because I think that might actually be what I'm most anticipating. And I know that might sound weird. There's so many different things inside this NFTHud, but an NFT calendar is I mean that's going to revolutionize. That's going to be a massive time saver just to start with. So touch on that
Yeah.
if you would.
No, I'm glad you brought it up, because I mean you're just highlighting all of our best features. To be honest with you, it's something. I when we built the site, it's genuinely all the things that I said. These are pain points for me. Let's fix them. That was the entire motivation behind what we're doing, is to make it better for everyone else, including myself, because I want to use this site too.
Oh yeah.
So the calendar is something that I've actually done my own calendar for my alpha group, where I basically put together my own calendar of, hey, these are the projects that I think are the best this month. Totally my opinion. No one else has a say in it. Like you'll see on other sites like Rarity Sniper, they have their own NFT calendars with all the upcoming drops for the day. But the problem there is, like, projects can usually pay those sites to
Mm-hmm.
feature their projects, and you get all kinds of different, sometimes they're great, sometimes they're crap, and you have to like really go through all of them and figure it out yourself. um, our site tries to take away all of that. We never take any paid project for feature or there's no advertisements on our thing at all. It's fully for the users. The users are the only people we care about. So our calendar is a curated list right now. To start, it'll be a curated list from our team that takes in a bunch of factors: the data, it takes in now the community awareness, like their social following, their social engagement, and then just general, I think general like sentiment about the project, right? You can get an idea after being in the space long enough of like, hey, this project is probably going to do well because it's got these notable followers and people talking about it in this way and this many engagements and blah 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 blah. So right now it's our curated list of the best mints that month. But
Okay.
what we plan to add once we have users is to have a community curated list from our users as well. So you can have different tabs that are different calendars that might have slightly different projects, which has the opinions of other people as well. So it's not really just us feeding what we think is the best. Because I really want it to be about our community that we have on the site that kind of dictates what the site's all about. So that'll be like an upvote downvote system, kind of like Reddit uses to determine like, this is a great project because it's got 1,000 upvotes this month and people really seem to like this project for whatever reason. So that's something we're going to add. And I just think that the calendar, for me, the most value is that it takes away all of the work.
Yeah.
All the tools we're building, is the goal is to take away the grind and the time that it takes to try to find these projects, which is like the whole game right now. It takes a lot of time if you want to do this well. So the calendar has the other thing I like about it is it's got everything you need in one spot. Like, it's one screen and it's got every bit of data and every link you will need for any project all in one screen. Other accounts, other sites have all kinds of crap going on. And I can show you a bunch of examples, but you can just look them up yourself if you want. Like, I think the layout of ours is a lot easier to just quickly be like, yep, that's going to be a good project. Yep, that's going to be. This one looks a little bit out. Like, it looks like it's a little bit, and we actually have one on there right now as an example. Like, you can quickly see, hey, this one doesn't match with the other ones because it's got way less engagement. And you can quickly see that and determine, like, hey, these are the projects I want to mint. And so taking it a step further, we actually have alerts we're going to set up so that you can easily just be like, boom, boom, boom. These 3 projects alert me an hour before the mint so I can make sure I don't miss them. That kind of thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's what you touched on. You said, people can just pay to hop onto, say, Rarity Tools or something. Rarity Tools, for anyone out there that doesn't know, if you have an NFT project, regardless if you have a fully undoxed team, regardless if you have, no community backing, if you have absolutely nothing but you have 2 ETH, Rarity Tools will throw you up on their featured upcoming drops in a heartbeat. Yeah, you have to fill out a couple forms, but if you have the money, they have the space, and nobody that is looking at those upcoming drops has any way of knowing that you have no community backing, that you have a fully undoxed team, and there's just no way of knowing because anybody can pay to get on there. And that's not to bash Rarity Tools. Rarity Tools has been an amazing tool for an unexplainable amount of people in the space, but they are, kind of one of those, the firsts. Like we said, OpenSea is the first one to really come in and boom the NFT marketplace. Rarity Tools is the first one to really come in and boom with rarity tracking and rank tools that people can use, and now we're going a step further, and I think that I touch on this in a lot of videos. Community is everything. Whether you are joining a community in hopes of making it to the moon, or you're creating an NFT collection with the same hopes that you make it to the moon with your community, it all comes back to that community. 10,000 eyes on something. If you know there's 10,000 eyes on it, then it's probably a better bet than someone that is throwing money at paid advertisers and is getting growth that way.
Yeah.
I know you said that it was a paid platform, which everything you're putting into it makes sense. It should be a paid platform. I kind of picture all the people coming into the NFT space kind of standing behind this gate, and on the other side you have all the people that already have the tools. They know when the whitelist is, they know the tools they're going to be using to snipe the floor price. They just have everything, and then you have everyone else kind of standing on the outside of the gate just wondering how to get in. So this kind of seems like it's going to bring all those tools and advantages that people already have and have been using to profit. Like you said, $400,000 flip just like that, just because the guy knew where to look. These aren't flips that are gated for people. These are flips that are open for everyone as long as you know where to look and how to look for them. So when it comes to that, what is I don't want to say gate, but what is the entrance to get into this? And is it like a subscription base? Is it a one-time fee? I think a lot of people would be interested to know how to get on the other side of that gate.
Yeah, so the way we're starting it is kind of like a Kickstarter with an NFT collection. Okay. And the main utility of the NFT collection, there's 3,000 of them, is lifetime access to the site. So you will have unlimited access to every feature we have and every feature we do in the future, including early access, so beta access to those new features. And that'll be a benefit you have as opposed to subscriptions, which we're going to do down the road a little bit. Subscribers will be able to use the features we have on the site, but beta testers and beta access will be given only to the NFT holders in the collection. So there's that. Then there's also private Discord access, which my belief, and there's no way to really guarantee this until it happens because it's just the nature of the beast. But the idea is that all the members, 3,000 members in our NFT collection, will be the only ones that have access to this alpha Discord group. And if you're a hardcore member and you try to flip and you're in the scene and using our tools, there's a good chance you're going to have a pretty good amount of alpha to share in the Discord too. So I think that alpha Discord group, private Discord group, is going to be a pretty good value add, even though it may not seem that like grand because there's a lot of other ones that already exist. But I do think that will add some value. And then there are some other benefits that I like to keep some tricks up my sleeve so that people get, you know, a little excited about what we have coming in the future. I don't want to give away all the fun stuff up front. But I think the key for me in doing this project, I've wanted to do an NFT project for months and haven't done one because I didn't want to put something out that I couldn't deliver more value than the cost was. And I genuinely feel like with this project, we have accomplished day one, you will have more value than what you pay for on the NFT. And then there's more to come down the line for sure. So that's my purpose, is to over deliver. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they bought something and then didn't get their money's worth. That's like my ultimate worry, or my ultimate like goal to achieve, is to make sure that we are providing like true value and understandably obvious value for anyone who isn't part of the collection. So that's kind of what we've done. The price of the NFT is 0.3 Ethereum to mints. We do have a whitelist. We weren't going to do a whitelist until like genuinely 3 or 4 days ago, when so many people were asking for it, that I was like, maybe we should just do it. That way we don't have to worry about gas wars, because it seems like there might be one. I thought it was going to be a slow trickle release, but it seems like people are really enjoying it. And the people that have beta tested the site for the last couple of weeks, we've given a lot of people access to try the site and make sure that they can actually use it the way we intend, and it has value. So it seems like the hype's kind of getting pumped up. So we've done a whitelist now, and there's a bunch of spots still available. So, you know, if anyone wants to join, just hop into Discord. We're going to give away a bunch over the next several days before we launch on the 17th.
For sure.
So yeah, that's the first way. And then, like I said, we're going to do subscriptions down the line at some point. That's the plan. There are some other things potentially in the works that might be another way to access the site, but we'll have to wait and see how those pan out.
For sure. Yeah, no, and for anyone wondering, I will go ahead and throw the Discord link that he was talking about down in the description and in the first pinned comment down below. I will also throw I don't know if I'm going to call it YouTube competition or YouTube friend here. I'm going to lean more towards the YouTube friend, but Matt runs an amazingly successful YouTube channel about crypto as well. I'm going to leave that link down below. That was awesome. Yeah, that came out of nowhere. No, hey, that's awesome. As long as he doesn't knock a bunch of stuff off.
She's just chilling.
That's great. Yeah, no, so I will throw those links down below. One thing that you did say, that it was only going to be 0.3, which I think is really good, because a lot of people, with all the different sites that you need to be either subscribed to or you need to hold an NFT to actually get the same value is exponentially more than that. So I think that's an awesome price point. Now, one thing I did want to know is because you're going to have these live updated listings coming in, you know, you said minute by minute, sometimes even as soon as seconds, are you going to be able to make a purchase directly from the NFTHud? Or are you going to have to go from NFTHud and then go back to, say, OpenSea and purchase from there?
Right. Currently, you do have to go back to OpenSea. Okay. That's one of the first things we're going to change as soon as we get past launch, because it's definitely like one of the bigger things that will add a ton of value. Is the idea ultimately is that you never have to leave the site. Everything you will ever need is on one site, including being able to purchase and sell from that site, which would be, you know, NFTHud. Mm-hmm. People have asked a lot for a Chrome extension as one of the features, and while we can do that, the idea is that you wouldn't even need a Chrome extension, because you'll never need to go to OpenSea or LooksRare or any other platform, even Coinbase NFT, whenever that comes out. All of it will trickle to our site. And this is a little thing that I haven't talked about anywhere else yet, actually. What we're planning on doing is, once you have all these different platforms, our site will actually show you the best sale price across all of them. So instead of going and checking OpenSea, LooksRare, and Coinbase to see what's the best, cheapest listing to buy price, our site will do that for you too. So it'll only show you the best buy price for each individual listing, and then you can buy it directly on any of those platforms through our site. That's the goal. Don't have it in store yet, but that shouldn't take too long to get set up after we launch.
we have that kind of kinship as where, you're not going to be taking a bunch of paid shilling for promoting
Right.
on your NFTHud. The amount of emails I get every day to shill a,
I feel you,
and I'm
bro.
going to say it, a completely shit project
Yep.
is
Yep.
unbelievable. And so the fact that we kind of see eye to eye on that as well, we're here for the long haul, we're here for the people, we're here to offer value, we're here to build out something that we ourselves, if we were just coming into the space, would find value from. So that's kind of why I
Exactly.
really wanted to introduce this to my community, because I see the value. And really what I see is this kind of timeline. I am, of course, always hunting for NFTs, and this tool is going to let me know when they're launching, who's behind the project. It's going to give me the community sentiment on that project, and it's even going to go one step further. And once the project launches, it's going to tell me basically what to buy to make the best money. So it's going to take the guesswork out of it. Um, yeah, no, and if there's anything that you kind of have a statement about it that you wanted to say, I definitely want to give you the floor to do that.
Man, you let me ramble way longer than I should have. So
That's okay.
I think I mean you pretty much touched on everything that I would want to tell anyone about anyway.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, there's a lot more in store too. Like I can't wait. I'm really excited about what we got going. So
That's awesome.
hopefully some of you guys will join us and take the ride.
Oh yeah, and one thing before we close that I ask everyone is NFT Market 2021. Well, let's actually go back. 2020, we closed off the year with right around a million, if not less than $1 million total activity in the NFT market. In 2021, we close right at 18.9 billion for about an 18,000% increase.
How's that for some gains?
What do you think? 2022, we went, so
Ooh.
2020, right, a couple million. 2021, 19 billion. What do you think we do in 2022? I've had some people say 50 billion. I've had some people say 100. I think 100 may be stretching it. What do you think about that?
I've actually never thought about this. So by end of this year, I think if Coinbase, I think it really relies on Coinbase and their platform because they have such a big presence in the space,
Oh, yeah.
especially being a publicly traded company in the U.S. I think that gives like a lot of validity to their company and brings like mainstream appeal to the space where it doesn't really exist right now. I would say. I think a lot of people are also against NFTs still. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go. I think 50 billion would be a ambitious goal. So we'll go 50 billion.
I agree.
I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah, no, I think if Coinbase launches, we'll have three main platforms, and I think that'd be crazy. Well, I guess four, because Binance, uh, people don't give a lot of credit to the Binance NFT market. I think there's at least a little bit of credit due there. So we'll have four kind of big players in the NFT marketplace space. So I would agree with you. My answer to people is usually 40 billion. I say, we'll probably double. But
Yeah.
with the new markets, you never know what's going to happen. You never know if BASE is going to hit a 150 ETH floor, which to some people is an insurmountable amount of money, and to other people it is a drop in the bucket. So it really depends on what side of the ladder you're on. But no, I wanted to thank you for coming on. It's definitely been a pleasure, and I am looking forward to NFTHud, which is launching. It looks like in about 4.5 days from now, which is fairly
Yeah.
soon.
Coming up real quick. Real quick.
Yeah, fairly soon. So I will leave the links down below for anyone that wants to get in on this, because I could see it going very fast. Um, because it's when you're talking about money and you're talking about making money, there's nobody out there on earth that doesn't want to make money easier, even if they have to put a little bit in. So I'm looking forward to it, and after this launches, we'll have to do a full, or at least I will have to do a full review on the channel
Yeah.
here. So
Dude, go in there and rip it to shreds. Tell
yeah,
me. There's one thing I will say. Like, do not hold back. Do not, be honest. Be straightforward with me. If things are crap, tell me. There are no feelings in this. For me, this is make the best platform for us as possible. So the only way we can do that is if people are honest and say, "Yo, like this is trash. It doesn't work. I don't like it. It can be better. Whatever it is, let's find it and let's make it better."
for sure. Well, you heard it here first, folks. When this launches, tear it apart and let
Yep.
him know.
Go in there and try to break it.
Yeah, go in there and
Please.
try and break it.
Seriously.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, man. We will have to have you back on again. It was just a pleasure, and I appreciate you coming
Awesome.
on. Any comments down below, I will try and get to, and if I can't answer them, I will bounce them off of Matt, and we will answer each and every single one of your questions. So if you haven't already, if you found value in this, make sure, as this is the only shill, or the only real shill that you're going to get in this video, hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, go over to Matt's channel, hit that subscribe button as well, as
Appreciate it.
you're going to be getting value on both ends. So thank you, Matt. Thank you to everyone out there listening, watching, whatever you're doing. As always, stay profitable. Don't let the FOMO bite you in the ass, and keep hustling.